It's hot out here in the secret broadcast cave. All right, Repo Man 64. Remember the last video I found those 10 days? I've been working on that ever since. And I think that those 10 days are a lot more important than we might have, or I might have thought they were when I discovered that it might have been that, and I surmised, I wasn't 100% sure, but the more I investigate, the more I realize that, yes, uh, the Feast of Trumpets was moved to Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, moved 10 days. So I said, huh. And I left it alone because after 10 days, the rapture didn't happen on Day of Atonement. And I said, okay, yeah, nothing's there. Uh, so let's just go on to the next date and see what matches. But then in the last video, it dawned on me that maybe those 10 days were supposed to slide throughout the entire year. Then I realized something. God gave us everything he was going to give us in the Bible. He's not going to give us any more than what's written in the Bible, aside from what he said, dreams and visions and stuff like that. But he's told us when the rapture was going to be. He sealed it up for the time of the end. In the end, it shall speak. In the end, we will understand. Now, there are a couple of YouTube channels that I've listened to that said the rapture was supposed to occur in 2022. And I'm like racking my brains out. It's a good argument. We're in the time of delay. We're in the time of though it tarry, wait for it, it will not tarry. To me, that means there's a set date. It's not like there was a set date and then God changed it. There was always a set date. It's never changed. It's always been that date. But for us, as we've been searching and researching 1948, he has to come back by 2022 because that's the very end of the 73 years, leaving 7 years into 3031 for tribulation. Well, that passed 2 years ago. And we're just like, I guess, the fig tree generation didn't make sense, but it does. And I'm going to show you something. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it doesn't tarry. We are in a Jubilee year, and we all talked about it at the beginning when September 15th came, Tishri 1, everybody has a different date, but Tishri 1 came. We moved trumpets down 10 days, just like Leviticus 25 tells us to. But I think we're supposed to move the entire year. So what does that mean? Well, that means that 2022, from September 15th to September 15th, is a year of 2023. But we had to move another 10 days. So that year actually has, go by the Enoch calendar, 374 days in it. 374 days in that year because it moved 10 days. So what does that mean? Though the days be shortened for the sake of the very elect. Who's the elect? Well, it's supposed to be us, right? Though the days be shortened. So what happens in 2023? 2023, September 15th passes, trumpets moves to atonement, September the 24th, 25th, the same day as the Revelation 12 sign. Of course, that's our anchor. We go around. We are now in 2024. We're looking at September 15th for trumpets. This is the Jubilee year. When does the Jubilees count from? They count from creation, and they're running in tandem. There's two of them. It counts from when Adam was removed from the garden. You have 7 wonderful, blissful human years in the garden, and you're going to have 7 horrible, terrible years at the end. So in essence, what that means is you have a Jubilee beginning at creation. That Jubilee is now. We're in that now. It has been 6,000 years since creation. We're in that Jubilee. The next Jubilee will begin on September the 25th of 2030 and run around to September 5th of 2031. And that year will also have minus 10 days. And here's something that caught my attention. This year, since it started 10 days late and it does end on September the 15th, this year will have 354 days in it. There's your moon. There's the 10 days that Enoch was talking about. It doesn't matter what phase the moon is in. There are 354 days it takes the moon to cycle around the earth I think is it every 12 months? We have 12 constellations every 12 months. So that involves the moon in there. So now this 2023 into 2024, the days are shortened, which tells me, based on that verse, the rapture can only occur, or a gathering can only occur during the time that is shortened. That is now. That is right now. We're in a Jubilee year until September 15th. So my argument would be that because there's only 354 days in this year and it ends on September the 15th, we have to be out of here by September the 15th. Now, the flood occurred in 1656, 2344 BC. Noah, in order to fulfill a tribulation typology, should have been on the ark for 7 years. Add 7 years to 1656 or 2344 BC, add 7 years and see where you come up with to see if it wasn't a Jubilee year, not when he got on the ark, when he got off the ark. Why? Because he was on the ark, and this is our perfect example. He was on the ark for 1 year and 10 days. And at the end of 1 year and 10 days, he exited the ark into a brand new world. It was completely changed. Everything that was there was gone. It was all gone. I think they had a lot of technology prior to the flood. And then, of course, the flood wiped it all out, and mankind had to start all over again. So I think the rapture can only occur in a Jubilee year, which we are in right now. I think that the next Jubilee, running in tandem, will be in 2030 to 2031, from atonement to trumpets. It'll be, though the days are shortened, that year will also be shortened. The next window for a rapture is 43 years after that, which brings us back to this one. It's 50 years from this one, 43 years from that one, and then there'll be another one 7 years later. So based on that verse, this rapture has to happen in 2024. Let me get to some pictures. Let's see here, share screen. Nice and warm out here. All right. Let's see here. Now, over here, right here, September the 15th, Tishri 1 in 2022, 2023. So 2022 is going on from September, and it doesn't have 364 days. It has 74 days, an extra 10 days because it tarried those 10 days. Then here we are in 2023. It begins, it goes all the way around 2023, and we are in 2024. This year has been 10 days have been taken from it. Tishri 1, September the 15th, ends the Jubilee. We must be gone by this time here. We must be out of here by this time here. How do I get rid of that screen up there? You guys probably can't see it, but I can. It's annoying. Somebody left me an amazing comment, and I thank you for that. He shows each occurrence as to why he thinks that the rapture is here on Tu B'Av. The only thing that I differed with this person in was the Pentecost count. He did a 2 count of 50, making 100, and then he did 13 apostles. And he, at any rate, he came up with Tu B'Av with his formula. And mine is counted, of course, when Jesus saw Thomas in the upper room that morning. He did the wave sheaf offering. It's a week of unleavened bread. He did the wave sheaf offering. And then we count from the Sabbath after 49 days, which the Sabbath after is right in here, which would be 7 days. And then you count 50. And even unto the next day, Pentecost must always land on a Sunday. So that's the only thing we had a little difference in. I think what he's seeing is the second Pentecost, and somehow those 7 days are missing in his second Pentecost. Maybe he did say Tu B'Av. I think he said Tu B'Av. I'm not sure what he said, but at any rate, thank you for that comment. That was in depth. I've got Spinebreaker actually going to go study it and take a look at it because it was a really good comment. And he used several different passages to get, I think he got to Tu B'Av. And again, we're looking at right now, remember right here, Shavuot, Ascension Day, I have down here is May 30th, but move it out 10 days. January, February, March, April, May, 31 days in May. Move it out 10 days, so June 9th, 10th, that's today, would be a Shavuot since we had to move it over 10 days. Everything moved 10 days. This year we've lost. The days have been shortened for us this year because we're in a Jubilee year. Everything began 10 days late. So the first Pentecost, and like I said, I think what he's seeing here, what he calls the first Pentecost on Tu B'Av is actually the second Pentecost because he did 2 counts of 50 and then I couldn't quite follow the last example, but it was very good work that he did. And I'm not going to tell him he's wrong. You're wrong. I'm not going to do that. Now, Sivan 21, first Pentecost, add 10 days to that is June 15th. Going into this June 16th. June 16th is the day that Noah saw the time. Oh, he did a Noah count, and I think he landed on everything I landed on. I believe he did. Tammuz 1, I think he did a Noah count. I think that honestly, a lot of our dates are going to differ because I start the year on March 17th and it's as solid as a rock. And just like March 16th, the day of equal parts. Now we've always, and I've asked myself this so many times, how do I get rid of this bar up here? I don't even know. I've asked so many times as I've worked this out, Lord, why do you have the day of equal parts on March the 16th? And then you went 6 months and 10 days to Yom Kippur, 6 months and 10 days to the other day of equal parts. Why is it not 182 days? Like you said back up, 182 days. 6 months, 10 days, 1 year, 10 days. Noah was on the ark for a year and 10 days. And Spinebreaker did a bunch of research, also pointing out a bunch of examples of 10 days. So let me get over here and move this up here. Okay, as you all have heard, I took this picture when it first happened. I was trying to get out here to make a video, but I was working on those 10 days. Patrick Humphrey, it was one of the first that I had seen that posted that Trump it might get out of all of this based on a juror. And again, I think the world is a stage, and so I'm not putting much thought into anything other than when Jesus is coming back. That is my main goal, to get to people to say, hey, this event could really happen. It could have really happened in 2022. It could really happen tomorrow. It could really happen on the 50th. It could happen anytime, and that might make somebody say, hey, I really need to kneel down and accept the Lord, because if any of this stuff is going to go down, I need to be prepared, because better to be in Christ and raptured than not believe any of this stuff and be left a fool. You don't want that. So apparently this judge was laughing. They got him on camera or video or audio laughing about Trump being convicted. And then now the same judge is saying he has to throw it all out because of this juror. I'm surprised they didn't try to bury that. And that's the paperwork. It's hard to see, but that's the paperwork stating that a juror had text somebody the day before. This is his text. The juror says the Trump is getting convicted. And you can see that the juror himself is not going based on the evidence. He's going based on his dislike of Trump. All right. Now, I thought this was pretty cool. That's as small as it gets. Let's see here. Can I lift? No. A farmer, when Israel was invaded, there were 364. There's 364 days in a year. It was 10 miles from the Gaza Strip. I just found it. I don't do this type of stuff. I love the people that do because they see all kinds. They probably see a lot more in this than I see in it. But I thought those numbers were incredible. 364 and 10 right there. So I made a copy of it. All right. I can't get rid of this bar here. I don't know how to get rid of this. There it goes. All right, it's disappearing on its own. Okay. So here I am, and I'm making people in my Discord aware of something that I think I found. And it's so much information, I just decided to copy it. Normally I do my videos off the cuff, and then I go through my memory of stuff. And then after the video, I'm like, I forgot that. But I did talk about most of this. So from 2022, the year, the Gregorian calendar. Oh, and I did forget something. In the year 2022, if you want to know what actual day you were born, I know you were born on a Thursday of this day, but in 2022, when you go to look at your birth date, that's the actual day you were born. It's wrong on most calendars, but in 2022, it's accurate. So, and I know that because September 11th is the first day of creation, and it was a Sunday. So I know that Jesus went to the cross on a Wednesday, and only in 2022 does March 30th land on a Wednesday. And it lands 14 days after the head of the year of March 17th, and it lands 150 days after the flood began in October. It all comes together and makes sense. All right, so for 2022, the year, the Gregorian calendar names the days of the week correctly. The year is 375 days long because it moved those 10 days, though it tarried. Because in 2023, a Jubilee year, trumpets moves 10 days. So from now, atonement trumpets, same day, because it moved. 2023 to trumpets 2024 is 354 days, depending if you use the 365-day calendar or 364-day calendar, 355 days. So from 2021 to 2022, Feast of Trumpets is Feast of Trumpets. 365 days. And in 2024 to 2025, again, 364 days. But something unique happens in 2022. And I think this is what a lot of people saw in 2022, that there was something unique about that year. Well, there is. It had an extra 10 days in it. And that means that in the year 2023, from September to September, there will be 10 days short. I said it was right in front of us the entire time. In a Jubilee year, the days are shortened, and that's true. It was right in front of us the entire time. Equinox to equinox is 6 months and 10 days on one side, from March 17th to September 25th. The 10 days is already written in there. It's in there every single year. God has shown us this since day one. We just didn't see it. And then from that equinox in September the 25th, Day of Atonement, wrapping around back to March 17th, it's exactly, I said 5 months and 20, it's 5 months and 21 days. A yearly example of God shortening the days. This will happen again in 2030 to 31. The days will be shortened, or no flesh will be saved. There's a rapture about to occur at any moment. There is going to be a gathering into the millennium at the end of 7 years. both Jubilee years, one counting from creation, one counting from when Adam was removed from the garden. I think that passage that says, unless those days be shortened, no flesh shall be saved, means the rapture can only occur in a Jubilee year. It either happens by trumpets, September the 15th, 2024, or it won't happen until trumpets of 2031. Then it's another 43 years for the next Jubilee. My money is on it's happening here very soon. So somebody in the group on Discord says to listen to games from games. I think it's called From Game. I have his picture of it. He has a very small channel. It would be great if you guys could go subscribe. He's very articulate, very intelligent, and he believes the rapture was supposed to occur in 2022 because of how unique that year was. And I'm telling you that 2022, in fact, was. It had 374 days in it. 2023. Now, this is from, remember, this is from September to September. When do the Jubilees count? They count from creation. September the 11th was the beginning of creation. They count from there. They count from when time was created on that Thursday, or sorry, on Wednesday, and then Thursday being the first day, technically. All right. Yes, I'm listening now. Games to God is well spoken. He hasn't quite noticed that 2022 was unique because in that year, there are 375 days because trumpets is moved out 10 days. Then 2023 is unique in that it only has 355 days in it. So 2023 being the Jubilee means that the rapture will occur within the 2023 Jubilee, which we are in now until September 15th trumpets. I said, this is wild. This is where I'm beginning to recognize those 10 days. I'm beginning to realize that the days that how to associate that verse. So everybody said, well, he's going to shorten it back up to 360 days a year. He's going to speed the planet up and make it spin faster. I don't know. I've talked to some engineers in my time, and speeding the planet up even by a little bit will cause no water to sit still. It'll go everywhere. So I don't know if that's even a possibility to be able to do that mathematically. I mean, of course, God can do anything he wants, but we still have to live under the laws that he set up in the first place. All right, here he is. From games to God, I think perhaps, and I'm just guessing, I don't know, but from games to God, I'm guessing that he used to be a gamer. I found that a lot of gamers somehow were drawn to the Bible, and they are some of the best researchers I've ever met. They literally found Jesus and are very articulate and very very good at their studies, really digging deep into the Bible. And this guy right here is no less. He's very intelligent. I love his channel. And he goes through, this is a 2.5 hour dissertation on why 2022 was supposed to be the rapture. It was a really good video. God's roadmap through, though it tarry, an overview. And he does a 2.5 hour dissertation on this. It's quite incredible to listen to. And again, I'm listening to these people, and a lot of stuff that they say show up on the timeline. All right. Now, well, let me just enlarge it so I have to put on the old man glasses. Then thou shalt cause the trumpet of the Jubilee to sound. This is, I think this is Leviticus 25. Yeah, Leviticus 25, 8 or 9. Thou shalt cause the trumpet of the Jubilee to sound on the 10th day of the 7th month. In the day of atonement shall ye make the trumpet sound throughout all your land. So that means that trumpets is moved 10 days. Does God change? No. Did he move trumpets to Day of Atonement? He sure did. It says it right here. He says it right here that he moves it every Jubilee, in the year of the Jubilee, moves trumpets 10 days to atonement. So that's where I stopped. But then I started thinking, wait a minute, all these other dates, what if they moved? What if this is the year that that God shortened And he saves us out of it before it hits the fan. All right, now, Games to God mentions, and rightfully so, Habakkuk 2:3, 2023. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come and it will not tarry. What is a tarry year? A tarry year is a Jubilee year. A tarry year is a year like 2022, that's 375 days long. 2023, September to September of 2024, is a day shortened by 10 days because it loses 10 days to the previous year. It appears to tarry. So Games to God found 2022 as very unique, and I agree with him. It had 10 extra days in it. I did this. Ross over at New News had associated a birth, 9 months in travail, but before she travailed, she gave birth. So we're looking at some date before 9 months. 9 months from October the 7th is July the 7th. I don't know what is June 15th, June. Oh, I just did the math to June 15th, which is the Pentecost, if you move out 10 days, and it's 253 days. It's 8 months and 9 days. It is 21 days shy of 9 months. And we have that 21-day passage about him being held up. This is a conversation I'm having with Spinebreaker, and he is my Keegan Fernandez. He will find everything that you need, whether he agrees with you or not. He will. He researches. He's a very good researcher, and so he says, Rebecca, or I question him. He says, Rebecca, I question Rebecca, and he says, yep. And I'm like, elaborate. And he says, Genesis 24:5, and her brother and her mother said, let the damsel abide with us a few days, at least 10. After that, she shall go. And I said, oh yes, I forgot about that one. So there's a 10-day tarry. It's talking about it 10 days tarry. That's this year. That happens in a Jubilee year. We are going to have these 10 days that are different from the rest of the 2022 is unique because it had 374 counting September to September. 2023 is unique because it's going to have 354, the same cycle as the moon, from September to September of 2024. So we consented to them in this matter and proved them 10 days. So we have a girl, Rebecca, that is accepting an invitation, which is salvation, to go to be married. Here we have, during 10 days, somebody being proven who they are. And at the end of 10 days, this was a fasting that they were doing, and the people who did not eat the king's meat still looked better, fairer, and fatter in flesh than all the children which did eat a portion of the king's meat. So fasting is healthy for you. And then a third one that he found. And Abigail came to Nabal, and behold, he held a feast in his house like the feast of the king. I don't remember this. Oh, 1 Samuel 24:36. I like to call out the verse so you can go read it yourself. Like the feast of the king, in Nabal's heart was merry within him, for he was very drunk, and therefore she told him nothing less or more until the morning light. But it came to pass in the morning, when the wine was gone out of Nabal, and his wife had told him these things, that his heart died within him, and he became as stone. And it came to pass about 10 days after that, the Lord smote Nabal, and he died. 10 days. We're in a year that's 10 days short. There are 3 groups of people. There's a bride. There is a group of people that is going to fast. There, not by choice, but they're going to fast. And then there's going to be a group of people that die during this period of time. And then, of course, the Jews at the end of the 7 years when they recognize who Jesus is. For then shall a great tribulation, such as not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be, and except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. We are in a Jubilee year. These days are shortened. There will be 354 days in this Jubilee year. It's been shortened by 10 days. And at the end of that will be September the 15th. We, I don't believe, are going to be here much longer. I don't think it's going to be much longer. We're going to find, of course, if we're not here, we're going to continue to find dates, but I don't think that we can be here after September the 15th because the Jubilee ends on September the 15th. The 10 days shortening ends on September the 15th. Genesis 8. And I gotta enlarge this thing. Oh, Genesis 8:14. And in the second month, on the 7th and 20th day of the month, the earth was dried up. I asked in these videos for the past 4 or 5 years, why was Noah on the ark for 1 year and 10 days? What was the extra 10 days for? Noah was supposed to be on that ark going through tribulation for 7 years. But unless that time for him would have been shortened, he wouldn't have survived. He couldn't have been on that ark for 7 years. God represents those 7 years using 1 year. That's why I would do any math. If you say the flood began in 1656, add 7 years to that. You're going to find that it was a Jubilee year because of that 1 year and 10 days, that it was a Jubilee or the year before the Jubilee, like 2022 had 1 year and 10 days in it. He got off the ark at the end of 1 year and 10 days. That would mean he got off the ark on the Day of Atonement, which we know it's the second month and 17th day. That is 10 days after Halloween. But I'm just saying, by example, he was on that ark for 1 year and 10 days. Incredible that it matches. And you all know this passage. And when the day of Pentecost was fully come, they were all in one accord in one place. Jesus, okay, so this is when Pentecost, this is when the Holy Spirit comes. This is when the Holy Spirit comes down, the Holy Spirit at Pentecost. Of course, we all have a lot of different ways to count to Pentecost. Now, mine has moved 10 days because I realized that those 10 days must translate throughout the year. And so Pentecost, for me, is going to happen on June 15th, here in 6 days. All right. What else do I have after that? I also noticed this. Okay, so Jesus, when he rose, told Mary, don't touch me, for I have not ascended to the Father. Yet, during that same day he rose, he spent the whole day here on earth, and he disappeared that evening. He disappeared that evening. I think the Bible records that he disappeared right in front of them that evening. And when he did, he went to heaven. He stayed there 7 days, and then he did the wave sheaf offering Sunday morning, and then he returned to Thomas in the upper room on the self-same day. He couldn't have done the wave sheaf offering because he needed to be there prior to that day beginning at nightfall, but he was here on earth around the people. Now, you can go into Matthew and Mark, you will not find any account of Jesus being touched. No account. The only account you'll find is afterwards. They handled him. After he returned, they handled him. Tells Mary, don't touch me, for I have not ascended to my Father. He comes back. The only account of him appearing to Thomas in the upper room, and all 12 of them, one of the, well, there's 11 up there because Judas was dead, but Thomas, one of the 12, called Didymus, was not with them when Jesus came. 20:24. I thought that was pretty cool. That's in John 20:24. So Jesus was in heaven. We will be in heaven with Jesus. you'll find no account of him being touched in Matthew or Mark. You'll find that he was handled in John and in Luke, the bride and the, 144,000 virgin Jewish males. Do I have another picture over here? Oh yeah, this is the timeline I just made. I wanted to point it out to you. Noah was on the ark for 1 year and 10 days, but I think we need to do our math for 1656 from creation or 2344 BC. I think we need to count that 1 year and do our math from that as 7 and see if it'll land. And I didn't have time, but see if a Jubilee will land here and bring us right to a Jubilee year of 2023. If that adds up. I know that 6 and 7 is 13, so I don't know if you remove or add, but I think this will land us on a Jubilee. That's what I think. And that's why he was on the ark for 1 year and 10 days. So from September 15th, Tishri 1, 2022 to, and also in 2029, same thing happens. In a Jubilee year, the Day of Trumpets is moved to the Day of Atonement. It goes September 15th, it moves to September 25th. It goes from Tishri 1 to Tishri 10. It does this in 2023, and it does it again in 2030. I think I was supposed to write, no, 2023, 2030. I don't know why I wrote it twice, but because of that, from this moment here to Tishri 1, September 15th, the Feast of Trumpets, it is 354 days. There's where the moon comes in. Not to start the year, not to count the months. That's what the moon has been telling us for all these years, and we missed it. There are 354 days in this year. There are 374 in this one because it comes to right here. Though the days be shortened, no flesh will be saved, but for the very elect, the days shall be shortened. The rapture can only occur in a Jubilee year. That Jubilee year ends on September the 15th. I thought that was noteworthy. I love how it lines up. This verifies that the 2024, between 2023 and 2024 had to be the rapture. We're already well into 2024. And I believe we have to go before September 15th. David the Watchman says it must happen, according to his studies, from 8 p.m. to 8:59 p.m. at the very end of the watch, the first watch. And for me, the very end, let me enlarge this thing. The very end of the first watch is June 15th, June 16th, right here. And when you follow it down, June 16th, Tammuz 1, tops of the mountain seen by Noah. And I did some math here, 40 days after Nisan 17, I can't see it. Oh, I have my glasses, hold on. Tops of mountain seen by Noah, 75 days after Nisan 17, 40 days before the 9th of Tisha B'Av. That's pretty cool. So this is also, I had moved barley over here to the first Pentecost, and I moved wheat here over to the second Pentecost, and I moved wine and oil over here to the third Pentecost. That is the order that they pull the stuff, but it doesn't mean that God won't pass this and then a year later pull wine, because I think wine is going to be the tribulation saints. I think wheat going through the tribulum is the Jew. They're going through the full tribulation. I don't think that the sleepy church is. I think they're going to be squoze, but the good wine will come out after that. So, all right. Repo Man 64, tell me what you think in the comments section. Could that be what it meant? That simple, is that though the days be shortened, it had to happen in a Jubilee year. And that Jubilee year is right now until September the 15th. And so we'll be looking very hard at today and tomorrow because of the May 31st into the 9th, which is now the 9th, so becoming the 10th. And the same thing here, June the 15th going into the 16th for Tammuz 1. It'd be very interesting if that's is that one of the gates too? Yeah, that's one of the gates, Enoch's gates. There's 90 days and then a day of the gate, 90 days, and then a day of the gate, 90 days, and then a day of the gate. We have one, I think this is the one where I had an extra day because of the 365-day calendar. Then we have 90 days and the day of the gate. So we have 364 days in a year, but I had to add one because of that. I have run into a problem right here. That's why you see 15, 16. The math starts to get wonky right in here until we can iron that out when we get to heaven to see what everything actually is. Enoch and I are, we've got to talk when I get there. Everybody's like, I'm going to go see this. I'm going to go, of course, I'm going to go see Jesus because he did all this, but I'm going to Enoch's mansion and say, can I please see the actual timeline of when all these events happened? And I pray when we get there, our memories will be so much better than they are now, because I don't ever want to forget what I'm shown. Enoch didn't. There's a record in Jubilees that he was taken up there and he got to see all manner of time and he understood how everything functioned and the order of everything. And I have a feeling that his timeline on the wall looks exactly like this one. Come on. A little bit like this one. It'll look something like this one. Some of these dates have got to be right. I've worked very hard on this for 5 years. Of course, that's me pat myself on the back, and that's not good. So, all right, go to a quiet place by yourself. Nobody needs to know. You don't need to tell anybody. Set the Lord into your heart. We have but a very short window of time, very short window of opportunity for you to do this now. You will do it. You will do it after you see this rapture occur and you've heard these words. You will kneel down. In the end, every knee will bow. Every knee will bow in the end. So it's do it now, do it later. It is your choice. And we'll see you on the other side. We will see you on the other side very, very shortly. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we will chat with you all again later.